And then just the aftermath, like people quote mourning, people uh like refusing to do their fucking jobs.
Yeah,
Cough cough David Cameron. Um and what was it? I remember, yeah, Theresa May making a talk about it, and I was all like, oh, it's like and she was talking like it was a breakup. It was just like, I just found it funny. And the thing is that we're just, okay, so I don't know if you know about Switzerland. They never joined the European Union,
yeah, yeah. I
and
know.
they are doing fine. And
I mean,
it's just like, why?
Switzerland
And like from
has
a,
a very different economy set up, though, and their economy
oh
is
yeah,
very much around their banking and things like that as well. But yeah, overall, Switzerland has a very different relationship with Europe than the other
mm,
European nations, and they don't
yeah,
abide by the same uh, impositions, if you like, that the other European nations have to. And yes, it is true that we could potentially have a somewhat of a Switzerlandish agreement with Europe, but in all honesty, I don't think they will allow that. Just simply because they want
mm,
to punish Britain, because they can't allow Britain to successfully exit the European Union. Because if they do,
mm,
it will encourage many others. Right now, Britain, I think, and Britain will leave the European Union. I mean, this is going to happen. I don't think this is an if or a but. This is
yeah.
just
There's no point backing up on it and going, this is a bad idea
yeah.
because
No, this is a
referendum and all
matter
that.
of when. It's not really a matter of if. It's just the fact that right now the House of Lords and obviously the politicians, House of Commons, they are playing as much game as they can. They are trying to buy as much time as they can to somehow weasel their way out of doing this. And Theresa May, I
Mm,
think, for I got to give her this much credit. As much as I'm not much of a fan of the Tories, she is
mm,
going through with something that she fundamentally disagreed with, but accepts the will of
yeah,
the people. At least you got to give her that
yeah.
much credit. That she is
Mm.
at
I mean,
least following
that's kind
through.
of why yeah, that's kind of why I respect her as a politician. Like, she understands,
Yeah,
like, she has her own policies, but she knows that the people come first. Because of the thing, I think it was called the Magna Carta.
yes,
Have
yeah.
you ever
The
done that in
first,
history?
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of politics thing where it was all like, oh, you can't do this without the consent of the people.
Yeah, that was the first
Um,
draft of, if you like, a democratic sort of
yeah,
constitution of some sorts. That was one of the first sort of known, although there were others in history, but this is
yeah,
one of the famous
in the
ones.
UK,
Yeah, certainly in the
yeah.
UK, yeah.
I mean, especially if we're going to talk about democracy, people like the Greeks. I remember hearing about Roman politics, and it was just like, oh yes, there was this party, and they're well known for wearing yellow tunics, and there's
Yeah,
this other party that are well known for wearing purple tunics. And it was just like, is that their only policies? Like, did they actually, I don't know, want to help the people or what?
well,
And it was just like,
yeah.
nope, they're all aristocratic cunts.
Yeah, but the thing
Um,
is, some again, you could even amongst the Greeks and the Romans, you found things like champagne socialists too. Those who
mm,
saw the value of being able to at least provide the most people, even if it's the middle class, with clean drinking water. You know, the aqueducts. Who do you think built those, and why
mm,
do you think they built them? They didn't just build them for the rich. They were
yeah,
provided for the people. Roads. They built roads. Romans were the famous, they're very famous for building roads. They built
mm,
sewer systems, and in order to keep disease off the streets. So no,
mm,
it wasn't just that they were aristocrats. Yes, they will make sure that they are very well comfortable and better off. They are not. They never gave
yeah.
up their slaves. They never
Yeah,
advocated for
I'm just talking about like how I really heard of it in like history
yeah.
class,
But what I
which
mean
I haven't
is,
taken since year nine.
funny
So
funny thing is, champagne socialists haven't changed that much throughout history.
wow.
They are still in that mode of your J.K. Rowlings and your Hollywood stars,
Mm,
where they will never give up their billions in order to help the
yeah.
millions, but they will advocate to help everyone, still drive away to their $1 billion mansions up in the Hamptons where it's 90% white people. And they don't have to live with a
Yeah, yeah,
refugee
yeah.
within 100 square miles. So,
Mm.
they will still advocate it, they'll virtue signal, but they won't do too much, at least not enough to make themselves in any form or fashion uncomfortable. They still have their
Yeah.
comfortable lives. There are a few who are a bit more genuine, like Angelina Jolie. Believe it or not, I give her a lot of credit. I know she's somewhat of a champagne socialist, but she adopts actual people, children of the poor when she goes to these countries. She literally adopts them because she feels so bad that she can't just walk away knowing that this little child is going to be starving tonight. And even
Yeah.
Madonna to an
I mean,
extent.
you can't adopt all the beggars in India.
Exactly. Of course you can't. But what I mean is, you can tell that she's touched on a personal
Yeah.
level, so much so that she wants
Mm.
to bring some of this back into her own home. So at least there is
Yeah, whereas you
that
got like
much.
the head teacher in my school who just goes to Malawi, that we make jokes like saying that like he like pretty much lives in Malawi
Well, there you go. I mean, but
because he just goes there so often.
in all honesty, that's a,
I think he went to this one school like 9 times in a row. So like,
there you go.
you know,
There you go. So at least
I was just like,
he's
is that good in
doing
his heart, or is he just like?
well.
I mean, there's just like shady things. Like in my head, I'm just thinking like what has he done that's so wrong? Like
What's
that
he
he thinks that
making up
he's gonna
for?
have to pay. Like, yeah, exactly. What is he making up for? Who did he kill? Um,
Is he compensating for something in his life? It is very
yeah,
cynical of us to believe that people can't be altruistic. And I
yeah,
it's
yeah,
difficult. It's difficult for me to 100% attribute true altruism to anyone. I don't think anyone
yeah.
is 100% altruistic. In fact, that was part of a conversation I had on the Hangout with Bearing the other night. And this concept
Yeah.
of people who are really truly altruistic. Even the Dalai Lama,
Mm.
the friggin' Buddhists, Tibetan Buddhists, are not 100% altruistic. They all have some
Yeah, they're
sort
not.
of
Yeah,
personal
there's no
gain.
such thing as like, yeah, like there's no such thing as like selflessness.
I mean,
Um,
it is, but
the
this,
opposite to selfishness, not
I
like.
would work it out as
I
in
mean, like.
yeah, I would work it out in percentages.
Mm,
I would say
yeah,
this person is probably 80% selfless, whilst this other person is
yeah.
20% selfless. Um, but
Mm,
it's I think that's the best. That's the only way you can actually measure it in any way, is in some form
yeah.
of averages. Because you can't. I honestly, the only two extremes that I know that I don't think it exists, and that is someone who's 100% altruistic, and someone who's 100% selfish. That there's those two extremes
Mm.
don't
It just
exist.
doesn't exist. Yeah.
But in the middle,
So moving on.
yeah.
Oh wait. Do you want a middle? What?
Oh,
Were
sorry.
you
No,
gonna
so in the
continue there
middle,
or what?
there's lots of people between the 0 and 100 when it comes to altruism. But this
Mm.
sorry, do you want to carry on with the Brexit, or shall we move to the final,
Yeah. We should. Let's move on to our final topic
which is,
thing.
shall I say it, anarchists
It's
on YouTube.
yeah,
Anarchists,
yeah.
and I think this is gonna be heavy with your input, because as much as I mean, because I think
Mm.
the person you were talking about or you were thinking was Mr. Dapperton. And now,
Yeah,
in all
I mean,
honesty, go
although I have to say I like the guy in order to not get backlash.
on.
Um, just saying, Mr. Dapperton, hashtag no hate, no harm done, love you.
Yeah, dude, you have
Kiss
to put
kiss.
yourself out there. If you're gonna put your honest opinion
Um,
out there, you just have to put yourself and be vulnerable. You can't play it safe all the time.
yeah,
You have to sometimes just say, "Look, I disagree with X." Now you're gonna hate me for it. You're gonna love me for it.
yeah,
I got a ton of hate from the
yeah.
MGTOWs when I made my MGTOW video. I'm still getting hate from them now.
Mm,
But that's life. That's
wow.
when you put your opinion out there. Why?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm talking like disagree, agree, I don't care. But like, if you're actually saying, "Oh man, I don't know why people subscribe to your channel's shit," I mean, like.
Mm,
I'm not gonna go into like, oh, this is cyberbullying. You shouldn't say that. Do what you like, but you just gotta realize that what you're saying, I mean, kind of does have like a bit of a personal thing because you're like putting time into it and whatnot. Anyway,
yeah.
what I kind of wanted to say, about anarchism and I'm probably gonna get this really wrong because he's read like every fucking essay on it. And he's all like, he's much more into it. He's got his head way far into that ass.
Yeah.
Um, he like if I ever tried to say anarchism is this, he could whip out something that says anarchism is that. So pretty much anything I say about him and his beliefs is there's not really a lot I can really say because he will just dismantle the shit out
It
of it.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is what I mean. I feel that you have something to say and you don't want to say it because you think he's going to tear you apart for it. So what? Let him tear you apart for it. Prove you wrong. It's okay. That's actually part of growth. That's part of learning. If somebody comes back and says, no, you're wrong because of this and this and this and this, and I actually didn't believe any of the things you attributed to me, fine. I will get a better perspective on what I thought that this person was. But if you never say anything, you will go on not knowing what you think of this person may be incredibly incorrect, and you will never be corrected on it, and you will go on with your life in this sort of ignorance of what you think versus what actually is. So just say what you think. Now, what I will say is that Sargon of Akkad did an amazing video on the anarchists, if you like, categories and all the breakdown of all the different anarchists, the socialist anarchists, the capitalist anarchists. So, and he did all their flags and he did all of that. So I think it's worth watching in order to gain a perspective.
That's the kind of video I'm sourcing from to get like the intel. I mean, I haven't read every essay, I haven't read every book.
Of course.
I'm not.
Yeah. But yeah, go on. Say
to be
what
honest,
you feel. Say what you think.
Like anarchism, it won't work like ever. There's no actual way it will work because like think of like the state that you live in. That's like the basis for any kind of society, really, any kind of community, like at all. Without police, you have no safeguard to protect you from when you're about to get mugged. Without things like healthcare, you have no safeguard for when you've died in a car crash. Without anything that's run by the state, it won't work. I mean, if you have private police, what about those who can't afford it? I mean, the thing is that although capitalism is great and is possibly the greatest system ever devised, I wouldn't entirely rely on it like I guess like an anarchist does.
There are, as I said, there are multiple functions, sections, categories of anarchists. There are the socialist anarchists, and then there are the capitalist anarchists. And although they both advocate for some sort of anarchy of turning the system upside down, neither one, the two groups are actually diametrically opposed when it comes to actually coming up with some ideas of building a society. What I think...
It's because I think... Oh, sorry.
No,
going to say something?
Go ahead.
All right, thanks. I think society is not... It won't function without that idea that something is watching you, without that idea that... without this idea that there will be consequences. Like, because without consequences, the whole world would just go apeshit. Anarchy.
Yeah.
And it's not beautiful at all. Like, if there was a I don't really want to say what was I going to say? Community or whatever. If there was some kind of society, that's the word, that was built on anarchism, that was built on
the thing is
what's it called? Capitalist anarchism. Like the person with the bigger guns kill someone, and there would be no way to stop it without because there wouldn't be any judicial system, there wouldn't be any kind of prison, there wouldn't be, unless it's privately owned. But then if you're saying with the anarchism thing, so if someone makes their own law, you can just say I disagree with it, and then it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just